Long before modern universities, before the internet, and even before printed books, there was a place that aimed to collect all human knowledge in one location. This place was known as the Library of Alexandria. It was built in ancient Egypt, in the city of Alexandria, around the 3rd century BCE. The vision behind this library was extraordinary. Its goal was simple, yet powerful: to gather every book, every scroll, and every idea from across the known world. Ships arriving at the port of Alexandria were searched for books. Any scroll found was taken to the library, copied, and stored. The original was often kept, while the copy was returned. This shows how seriously knowledge was valued at that time. The library was not just a storage place. It was a living center of learning. Scholars studied astronomy, mathematics, medicine, philosophy, geography, and literature. Some of the world's greatest thinkers are believed to have worked here. It is said that the Library of Alexandria held hundreds of thousands of scrolls. These scrolls contained ideas from ancient Greece, Egypt, Persia, India, and beyond. Some historians even believe it held knowledge that was far ahead of its time. But then comes the most painful part of the story. The Library of Alexandria was destroyed. What makes this loss even more tragic is that no one knows exactly how it happened. There are multiple theories. Some believe it was destroyed in a great fire during a war. Others think it was damaged gradually through several attacks over centuries. There is also the idea that neglect and lack of support slowly led to its disappearance. No matter how it happened, the result was the same. An unimaginable amount of knowledge was lost forever. Think about it for a moment. Books that could have explained ancient technologies, early science, and forgotten histories, gone. Ideas that might have changed the future of humanity disappeared without a trace. What if the Library of Alexandria had survived? Would science have advanced faster? Would we understand the ancient world more clearly today? These questions still haunt historians and researchers. Even today, the library lives on as a symbol. A symbol of human curiosity, ambition, and loss. It reminds us that knowledge is powerful, but also fragile. The lost Library of Alexandria is not just a story of the past. It is a warning for the future. When knowledge is ignored, destroyed, or forgotten, humanity loses a part of itself. And perhaps that is why this ancient library still captures our imagination. Because somewhere in its ashes lie answers we may never find. But what exactly made the Library of Alexandria so special? It was part of a larger institution called the Mauseon, a center dedicated to the Muses, the goddesses of arts and sciences. This was not just a library, it was one of the first research institutes in human history. Scholars were invited to live there. They were given food, accommodation, and financial support. Their only responsibility was to think, study, write, and discover. Imagine a place where the brightest minds of the ancient world gathered under one roof. Mathematicians calculating the size of the Earth. Astronomers mapping the stars. Doctors studying the human body. Philosophers debating the meaning of life. One of the most famous scholars associated with Alexandria was Eratosthenes. He calculated the circumference of the Earth with astonishing accuracy, more than 2,000 years ago. And he did it using shadows and basic geometry. Another scholar, Euclid, developed principles of geometry that are still taught in schools today. Think about that. Knowledge created thousands of years ago, still shaping modern education. Now imagine how many other discoveries were written on those scrolls. Discoveries we never got to read. Some historians believe the library may have contained early ideas about steam power. Others suggest it might have stored advanced knowledge in medicine or engineering. We cannot prove these claims, but we also cannot dismiss them. And then comes the question everyone asks. Who destroyed the Library of Alexandria? One theory points to Julius Caesar. During a war in 48 BCE, a massive fire broke out in Alexandria. Some believe that fire spread and damaged part of the library. But other historians argue that the destruction was not a single dramatic event. Instead, it may have been a slow decline. Political instability, changing rulers, religious conflicts, all may have contributed. The tragedy of Alexandria was not just flames. It may have been indifference. When funding stopped. When scholars left. When protection disappeared. Knowledge slowly faded. This makes the story even more powerful. Because sometimes, civilizations do not lose knowledge in one night. They lose it gradually, by neglect. Now pause for a moment. Imagine standing inside that grand hall. Shelves filled with scrolls from floor to ceiling. The smell of papyrus and ink in the air. Voices of scholars discussing the movement of planets. The quiet scratching of pens recording new ideas. And then, silence. Smoke. Ash. Empty walls. How many stories were lost? How many inventions never reached the future? How many answers to today's mysteries were hidden there? The loss of the Library of Alexandria represents more than burned books. It represents lost potential. Some experts believe that if the library had survived, the Renaissance might have happened centuries earlier. Scientific revolutions might have come sooner. Human progress could have taken a completely different path. But history does not move on, what if? It moves forward, carrying both achievements and regrets. Interestingly, the dream of Alexandria never completely died. In 2002, a modern library called the Bibliotheca Alexandrina was built near the original site. It stands as a tribute to the ancient library. A reminder that humanity still values knowledge. Yet even this modern building cannot replace what was lost. Because the original Library of Alexandria was unique. It was the first serious attempt to collect all human understanding in one place. And maybe that is why its story continues to fascinate us. It forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. Are we protecting our knowledge today? Or are we risking another Alexandria, in digital form? In our world of technology and data, information can disappear with a single click. Servers crash. Files are deleted. Records are corrupted. The lesson of Alexandria feels more relevant than ever. Knowledge must be preserved. Curiosity must be encouraged. And learning must be protected. Because once knowledge is lost, it rarely returns in its original form. The lost Library of Alexandria remains one of the greatest mysteries in history. Not because we know what was inside, but because we don't. And sometimes, the most powerful mysteries are the ones built from silence. Somewhere in history's shadows, the echoes of that great library still whisper, reminding us that knowledge is humanity's greatest treasure, and its most fragile one.